All right, so here's what happens. In my astrological practice, we have a lot of value that we get from the birth chart, right? The birth chart is obviously the foundation upon all the work that we do. If we don't understand that, then we can't go out and do anything else. But transits are the thing I think my clients and a lot of clients who don't understand the value that comes from transits, progressions, the cycles of the planet going through a house, not just the transits in relationship from planet to planet, meaning, Saturn is squaring Neptune or Saturn is trine to your Mercury, something like that. What we need to look at is that transits going through houses are very, very important. There are times in your life where the energy of that planet is doing work inside of the area of that place for you specifically. The houses are built exclusively on the exact time of your birth. And as a result, we need to pay extra special attention to the timing of this. The biggest issue that I face is that my clients often don't want to hear the negative, right? It's not negative, but they don't want to hear the negative. They don't want to get themselves worked up. There are already some clients, okay, are so stressed out about their current situation that when I tell them that it's only temporary, that we only have 2 years of this, that's like, whoa, it's too much, right? Because we're in crisis mode. But the thing is when we say that there's only 2 years as an astrologer, what we mean is that there's 2 years to do certain things right and get things right that if we don't pay attention to now, we're going to regret later. There are two types of clients here. There are the ones who take advantage of transits and timing, and the work with their birth chart is greatly enhanced. And there are those who just get the benefits and the coaching of changing their behavior to a more virtuous form via the birth chart and the coaching through that avenue. When we start to look at the transits of the planets through the houses, what people don't understand, okay, you have Saturn going through your 6th house of work. It's a time of detail-oriented focus, of learning new skill sets, of paying attention to not just your job, but every single person's job. Like if you owned a company, you have to look and say, I can't just trust the accountant on this one. I have to double check their work. I have to know what they're doing. I have to know what my cashier's doing. I have to know their job so that I know that they're doing things properly. I have to know the front of house, the back of house if I'm managing a restaurant, and all of it. So a lot of people are like, wow, that's a lot of work. For 3 years, Saturn might be going through your 6th house. If you have an intercepted sign, it could be considerably longer. And so most clients don't want to hear that information. What they want to hear is, something like it'll be over tomorrow, or, look how great this Jupiter cycle is. And it is. But even when Jupiter is going through the 6th sign, it's still a time of detail-oriented work, no matter which way you slice it. One's more consolidating your position, getting rid of unnecessary waste, and a lesson learned. The other is more of an expansive and growth-oriented force towards the learning of the new skill set or the implementation or the relearning of an old one. But either way, the detail-oriented focus doesn't go away. The hard work we may need to put in on our health and our body when these planets or any planet is going through our 6th house is also important. How we take care of our health. The reason I use the 6th house, because the day-to-day services that we provide, the job that we do is often not the most fun place, right? But, even if Saturn was going through our 10th house of career and we're making the shift and establishing our reputation out in the world, that might be a tough thing when the client wants to already be established. The client already wants to be the master in their field. They already want the recognition that's not going to come for a few years down the road. Don't get me wrong, the reputation builds at that time when Saturn's going through your 10th sign or your 10th house. And as a result, you do get a boost in reputation, but if we don't know the principles, then we're screwed. So this is what people don't understand about transits. It's like you can't cheat them. You can't cheat timing. What people don't know is it's like being on an airplane or being on a train and you're going in a certain direction. Let's say you're going from, Florida to New York. At a certain point, that train must pass through Carolinas. Now, to make it more dramatic, let's say you're not taking a train, you're going on horseback. So it's going to take quite a while to get from Florida to New York, right? More along the lines of a year transit or a few months or whatever it may be, right? Where we break the thing down where you're going to be camping out, you're going to be stopping with your horse to get food, to get rest in these different locations, meaning we are not going to be able to avoid where we are at. And when we're saying like that a planet is going through an entire realm here, an entire area of your life, whether that be your home and family in the fourth house, whether it be in your interpersonal life, whether it be your fifth house and it's about fun and playfulness and leisure time and romance and creativity. Okay, no matter where the planet is going through, we have to deal with it. We have to realize that we're going to be there anyways. That's the key word. We're going to be there anyways. So you have to think of transits like this. The whole house exists from, let's say, Florida to New York. That's the entire journey of sixth house, of the 10th house of your career, of the second house of money, right? That's the entire journey right there. And let's say it's Saturn, because that's always a good example, because Saturn's a tough one to deal with. We got probably about 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 in that house, depending on how big, small it is, maybe less. And we have to deal with this energy now. From Florida to New York, every single place along the way is a part of that journey. We're going to have to deal with Carolina. We're going to have to deal, let's say the Carolinas are the detail-oriented focus. The Virginia is the learning of the new jobs. Maryland is the relearning of old jobs. As we get up towards New Jersey, let's say that is the other part of the sixth house, which is taking care of your health, purifying your diet, getting yourself right on a bodily level, getting your habits and routines corrected. So you see what I'm saying here? You're going to be in these states anyways. And that's a good correlation. You're going to be in these states anyways. You're going to be there. But I got so many people sometimes, we're so worried about finding out that they're going to be somewhere for 2 years. Like, we're getting in the car and we're taking a trip and you're going to be, it doesn't matter if you ask 27 times, are we there yet? We're not there yet. We're going to have to, see the giant rubber ball in wherever, and we're going to have to stop and have the best pancakes wherever. So you might as well figure out how to take care of yourself along the way. What is going to make you a better person when you arrive up north or down south? When this journey is over, what's going to have made you a better person? What's going to have given and added value to your life if you just sat in the car and asked questions and ignored the whole process? If we just put our head down and just wish we were there, but then when we get there, we don't have the skills. You have to think the whole journey is like, let's say we're going all the way up to the north. We're going from Florida to Maine. And then once we get to Maine, we're opening up a business using the skills that we acquired along the way. And with that being the case, if we just said, well, I just want to own the business and I just want to have it and that's it. Well, then what happens? You get there and you don't have the skills. You didn't do the work. Your employees are stealing from you. Your accountant's not doing the books correctly. You didn't double check anything. You could have cost effectively saved yourself a ton of money, doing a different mailing system to advertise or whatever it may be. But you didn't look into it and do the research. And now that we didn't do the detail-oriented focus because you didn't want to face the negative, all of a sudden your business is failing. So now you're in a more negative state because we didn't want to face up to the timing that was there right now. And that's the point of this whole thing. We have to start to work with these transits. And then it's not just one planet. We have all these planets going all the way around. We have the short, month-long journeys of the sun and, few weeks to month journeys of Mercury. And we have to work all the way up to the 20 years in your house of Neptune, because your house has more than 30 degrees and Neptune's hanging out in your sign for 20 full years. Your house for 20 full years. With that being said, once you start to see that you're going to be there anyways, you're on a train, it's going to pass through this part of town anyways, you might as well look out the window. You might as well order something from the cart. You might as well buckle in and do some work while you're on this train ride. Get the experience and utilize the time frame to the best of its ability. The clients that I work with who understand that by working within the time frames, by taking advantage of the virtuous actions that they could take, understanding what is virtue versus what is vice. The virtue is what gets them what they want. The vice will not. But what was the vice? We didn't want to hear about it. And then we didn't do anything about it. And then we didn't really know what was happening. Why is everything so hard? I have to do all this work during this time period. I'm rejecting it. But if I knew, hey, yeah, it's 2.5 years, but in 3 years, I'm going to have my business and I'm going to know everybody's job and I'm going to have done all the details. I'm going to save myself a ton of money. And then when it's time to work on the partnerships and the relationships and consolidate what works best there, I won't have to worry about that, because at least the business and the jobs and the skill sets that I learned will be serving me well moving forward. That's what we have to start doing with our lives here. We have to start understanding that there's a time and a place and a season for everything. And the better that we can understand that, the better we can take full advantage of each cycle that comes our way.